Ladies and gentlemen, she's back.
And I cannot wait for you to read this, and I'll see you out there. Take care.
That's right, Kamala Harris is back in our lives. She's about to release a book of her memories of the 107 days she spent on the campaign trail. Now, I know it's easy to laugh at her for doing this. Shameless cash grab from her fleeting relevancy. She can't speak. How can she write? Yeah. I'll tell you what, I cannot wait for this book. I will devour every word. You're telling me that we get a full book from the woman who told us we can't be unburdened by what has been. A whole book from a person who couldn't think of a single reason she was different to Joe Biden. This one is going to go into the pantheon of political memoirs, and I can't wait. Now, it's not all sunshine and lollipops for the Democrats out of that video. She also issued this chilling warning to the party.
I will never stop fighting to make our country reflect the very best of its ideals, always on behalf of the people.
A terrifying prospect of things to come for the Democrats, but back to the memoir. To plug the book, Kamala Harris went on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Here he was delivering the 4 words that will clear the room at Democratic fundraising dinners for decades to come.
Please welcome her back to The Late Show, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Stephen Colbert is a good interviewer for what Kamala is after. Friendly environment, low risk, sympathetic crowd, a great way to display that natural charm and charisma. Some moments of true connection, like this.
Yeah, lots of cooking shows.
Oh, good.
Lots of cooking
Great
shows.
British Bake Off and stuff like that.
The kitchen is one of my favorites.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh, and this one.
Well, but it's also evident, isn't it?
No, it is.
And it is.
It is harrowing. I mean,
and it is.
I mean, there's.
Okay, that's mean by me. I acknowledge that. That's 5 seconds out of a 21-minute interview, so come on. All right, but the most important part of the late night talk show interview is to show up with a good anecdote from the book. Either tell it in full and say there's more stories like that in the book, or draw the crowd in and leave them on such a cliffhanger they've got no excuse but to rush out and grab it. But whatever you do on a late night talk show, you cannot do this.
I mean, there's a lot of personal stuff in the book. I mean, poor Dougie.
You've blown the lid off of Doug? What's going on?
For example, my birthday's in October. The election's in November. You see where I'm going. And Dougie kind of dropped the ball on my big birthday.
He didn't get you anything?
Oh, you have to read the book.
That's not a story, that's just a random collection of words. And I've got to tell you, she didn't do too much better on her second attempt at an anecdote.
And that's me on a call. So you'll see my phone is actually on my lap. And you know, I know I've been teased about this, but I like these kinds of ear pods that have the thing.
Yeah.
Because I've served on the Senate Intelligence Committee. I have been in classified briefings, and I'm telling you, like, don't be on the train using your ear pods and thinking somebody can't listen to your conversation. I'm just telling you, that's a little bit more secure.
Funny stuff. I have to ask at this point, is there a chance that Joe Biden is more coherent than her? Now, the second thing you want to do with a late night interview, particularly something serious like plugging a memoir, is to say something newsy. Something that's going to cut through the rest of the noise and drive some conversation and then some sales. So the big newsy line out of this interview, which becomes a Late Show's sell of the whole clip, is this section here.
Just for now, I don't want to go back in the system. I think it's broken. I believe, and I always believed, that as fragile as our democracy is, our systems would be strong enough to defend our most fundamental principles. And I think right now that they're not as strong as they need to be, and I just don't want to, for now, I don't want to go back in the system. I want to travel the country. I want to listen to people. I want to talk with people. And I don't want it to be transactional where I'm asking for their vote.
Now, I should point out, that's an answer to a question about why she's deciding to not run for governor of California, a post held by Democrats since 2011. So I don't know if she means that the Democrat Party, her own party, is part of these crumbling institutions that aren't defending America. But if I'm Gavin Newsom, I'm not thrilled by that answer. But big picture, she's clearly talking about the American political structure at large being broken, because she lost and because Donald Trump won. But which candidate winning would have had a better representation of failing institutions? On the one hand, you've got a candidate who went through a loaded primary field, won the backing of their party, and then took on a full election campaign. Or on the other hand, a candidate handpicked to be vice president despite an awful showing in the 2020 primary race, then not being subjected to a primary race when the president steps aside at the last minute, which denied Democrat voters a chance to say in who their candidate will be. So say what you will about Trump, he went about it the right way. And speaking of a lack of respect for Democrat voters, the book may get into one of the most preposterous moments of Kamala Harris's campaign. People may remember that on the night of the election, Kamala Harris did not speak to her supporters. Instead, she sent out her campaign co-chair, Cedric Richmond, to tell voters that she would speak the next day. We can't gloss over what a slap in the face that is to her fans. They were at that event for hours, in many cases after campaigning for her for weeks and months. It was clear from early on in the count that Donald Trump was going to win. Kamala Harris could not find it within herself to go out and thank people for their support. She did not give them that respect. So when she was on with Stephen Colbert, here's what she said about that.
You can't give up your belief in what can be and what can be better. And in spite of, I talked about it the day after the election. And again, I talk about it in the book. That was a rough bleeping day for me. And it was important to me in my speech that I gave that day, the next day after the election, to remind people to not give up.
It might have been important to her to say that the day after, but do you know when people needed to hear it? The night they lost. When you don't speak on the night, it kinda, sorta, almost feels like you gave up and you couldn't face the music. This book is going to be worth the purchase just for how she rationalizes that decision alone. All right, that's all the serious points I wanted to make today. Let me leave with the highlight of the interview. Watch this big cheer.
I'm going to do an audiobook too. Okay, yes, I will. And
what immediately takes it away?
And I'll read it. I'll record it. But
you can't blame them. 107 days. I can't wait to read it. Read it, not listen to it.